let's talk about SEO. And if it's for somebody who is new to this or is just starting out their business, they're not really sure what SEO is, can you give us sort of a bit of a breakdown, especially and some tips if somebody's doing their own DIY website, some tips for how to start working on their SEO?
Absolutely. There's a lot of things involved in it, but I will give you a sort of periphery surface level introduction to it. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. Essentially, you are optimizing the back end of a website to give Google what Google wants. So, and when I talk about Google, that's sort of a catch-all term. Bing, there's several other search engines, but obviously Google's the big daddy. So that's the one that we typically focus on. The way that Google works in particular is they've got something called a search bot, and every 24 to 48 hours, that search bot goes out onto the internet and it scrapes every website looking for search engine optimization pieces. So bits of code, geographical tags, et cetera, basically information that the bot can then take back to Google's algorithm. And then what Google can do with that information is enter that information into its database and its index and place your website in its index or its library accordingly. So without oversimplifying it, if your website has better SEO than a competitor's website, you should rank above that competitor for whatever search terms you are looking to rank for. So the example I like to give is if you're selling, if you go on Google and you search for red Nike shoes Adelaide, you'll always get results showing you red Nike shoes in Adelaide as opposed to blue Adidas shoes in Sydney. And that's because the key search terms of red, shoe, Nike, etc., and the geographical tag of Adelaide have been implemented into that website. Google's able to extrapolate that information and say, okay, if somebody's looking for this, then this is the most appropriate search result for that person. Because at the end of the day, Google's only job is to provide people with the right answer to what they are searching for, and that's what its success is based on. So in a nutshell, we go into the back end of a website and we recode it to make it so that it's easy for Google's bots to extrapolate that information and take it back to the Google library. And there's a long list of things that we put in there. But if you're starting, probably the biggest problem that I see from an SEO perspective is customers sort of guessing what their customers are looking for. So what they'll do is they'll assume, say, as a poor example, you do double glazed windows, and someone may think that customers will be searching double glazed windows Brisbane, for example. But if you go into Google Ads, there's a tool called Google Keyword Planner. You just type it in the search box there. And when you go into the Keyword Planner, you're able to type in the keywords that you think customers will be looking for, will be typing into Google to find a service or a product like yours. So if you're doing double glazed windows, you can go into the keyword search bar, type in double glazed windows, and then it'll produce a list of the search volumes for that particular search word, but also variations of that search word. So double glazed windows. Another one could be soundproof windows. It could be soundproof 2 separate words or soundproof 1 single word. And it'll pump out often hundreds or thousands of different keywords. And those keywords are what customers are actually searching for on Google. So it takes the guesswork out of it. And you're able to see, for example, maybe double glazed windows gets 500 searches a week, whereas soundproof windows gets 10,000. And then with that information, you're able to say, okay, if the search volumes are higher for soundproof windows, then that's the keyword that I should go for. Long story short, I see a lot of people who are trying to rank for keywords that don't have a high search volume. So it's really important before you even start is to go into the keyword planner, find out what your customers are actually searching for, and then align your website and all of your SEO efforts with that so that you're actually showing up for what people are searching for. So that's the very first point that I'd make is start off on the right foot. The second point I'd make is that there's some basic audit software that you can use to run a search engine optimized audit of your website. There's one in particular called mysiteauditor.com. You can go there, you put in your URL or your domain of your website, and that will pump out an audit that gives you an idea of how quickly the website's loading, all the basic SEO elements that are in there or are missing from there. And if you just follow that, it gets you off on a really good initial footing, because it may say meta tags and have a big X next to it, and you know that there's meta tags missing, or the meta tag doesn't contain the keyword, or anything along those lines. So you can just follow that audit, and then that'll get your score up, and that'll immediately help you start progressing up the rankings. Obviously, it depends on the industry you're in. If there's a lot of competition, you're not really going to see much of a change from that, but it would still get you off on the right foot. And if there's not much competition in your industry, if you've got a little niche selling a very particular product and there's not many competitors out there, it can really help you move up the rankings and get you shown more on Google. Moving on from that, once you've gone past the audit, people always say content is king on SEO. What that basically means is you should have a lot of written text on your website. You don't want to go too overboard, but typically what we found through trial and error is if you have less than 500 words on a page, you're not going to be ranking particularly well on Google. You need at least 500 words. And within that word, those 500 words, you should be peppering in certain keywords that you do want to be found for. So if in the Google Keyword Planner, soundproof windows was an example that I gave, you should definitely be saying soundproof windows a couple of times within there. Back in the 90s, we could just do what was called keyword stuffing, where we just say soundproof windows over and over again within that, and Google will be like, oh, this is definitely about soundproof windows, and you got the rankings that way. You can't do that anymore, much to my chagrin. You have to make it seem as natural as possible, because the algorithm is able to see by the writing whether it's in a sort of a natural way, and if it's if you're trying too hard to jam words in there, it does pick up on it and it'll give you a black mark and actually push you down the rankings. So my advice would be, know what your keyword is, speak about that, pepper it in there, but keep it as natural as possible, and 500 words would be the absolute minimum. Within that, you should have links to other pages on your website. You should have links to other websites outside. A lot of people get concerned that if they say they provide a hyperlink from their website to a competitor's website, that's just going to be, that's not good. There's this sort of famine mindset where if they're scratching somebody else's back, that benefits them. That's not really the case. Google sees it as beneficial to both parties. So you are helping yourself by also including, links to other websites as well.
If you're ready to be a super organised, focused and productive property manager, buckle up, because Colmeo is about to revolutionise the way that you work. Colmeo is the driving force behind property management excellence in residential real estate. Now picture this, a comprehensive end-to-end system designed to be the beating heart of your property management tasks, manage your properties, owners and tenants, and handle payments, inspections, and even marketing listings without leaving the platform. Colmeo is designed to be an all-in-one solution to all your property management needs. And here's the game changer. Colmeo isn't just software. It's been awarded the most innovative PropTech Scale Up in 2023. Yes, you heard it right. Colmeo has been recognised for their groundbreaking approach to property management software. How good is that? So property managers, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, dive into the future of property management with Colmeo. You can book in a demo with the team today and go in their weekly draw for a Prezi gift card worth $100. All you need to do is to head to the link colmeo.com/thatpropertymum, and Colmeo is KOLMEO.
So content is king is a very important one to keep in mind. I see a lot of websites getting built these days, and they're very visually pretty, lots and lots of like videos and all that. But they don't have enough content, and Google's bots aren't able to read pictures per se. So you can have the most beautiful picture there, but Google can't look at that. The bot can't look at that and say, oh, that's a picture of an umbrella. What you need to do is tell Google what it is, and you do that by naming the image. So you change the name to blueumbrella.jpg or whatever it is. And then within the meta tags, you'd also obviously mention that it's a blue umbrella, or in the alt tags rather, you'd say what's in the picture, so that Google's able to understand what that picture is about and take that information back to the index. Also, if you don't mind me carrying on, with the images, if you have a business where you service a specific geographical location or geographical area, so say you're a hamburger takeaway restaurant in Ipswich, for example, what you'd want to do within the text, obviously you mentioned where you are so that Google can understand that. But with the images, there's a program called GeoImgr, GeoImgr.com, and you can pop images into that, and you can actually type in the address and embed the latitude and longitude tags of where you're located into the images. And that's more information that Google can say, okay, they mentioned that they're in Ipswich on their website. This image, it has a tag saying where that image has come from, and then that's more information for the algorithm to decide where you are, and obviously rank you higher up in searches that are taking place in Ipswich, as opposed to searches that are taking place over in Perth, for example. So there's lots of different things that you can do on the website. So that's a broad overview of some of the basic stuff that we do on site. There's also off-site SEO, which is the ongoing work you do to move you up the rankings and keep you at the top. So a lot of people look at SEO as a sort of set and forget, where you build a website, you pop all the search engine optimization pieces in there, and then you wait for it to move up. That doesn't work. What you need to do is constant activity. So the algorithm, each time it sends out the Google bots, they come back and they say there's more activity that's happened, and they're able to, keep bringing more information to the website. Blogs help with that as well. Having blogs regularly updated, there's more information we can take back. But what I was going to talk about is the off-site side of things. And I guess another story would explain why or how off-site SEO works. So the way search engines started was at universities in America, I think in the 70s, was when probably the first one came up, and they were on a local area network there. And what would happen is people could write their papers or type out their papers, and then they could upload them to the internet that they had, the small local internet, the local area network that they'd have within the university. And then the very rudimentary search engines from back then, they would rank a paper based on how many people had clicked through to look at it, because they assumed if lots of people are clicking through to see this particular paper, then it must be good, and they give that paper more authority. So it has changed significantly since then, but it still holds true that if you have a lot of backlinks from other websites to your website or to your particular web page, Google sees that as an important page and gives it more authority and will move you up the rankings versus your competitors. So what you need to do from an ongoing basis is go and fetch backlinks. There's lots of different ways to do that. Some above board. A lot of people do things that are not above board, but we obviously try to keep everything above board. But the most basic way of getting a backlink would be to go to your Yellow Pages or Yelp if you haven't done so already. Go there, list your business in there, and make sure that you include a backlink to your website or to the particular web page that you're trying to promote from there. And one thing that I see people do incorrectly a lot is they don't copy and paste their domain exactly as it is in the, say, Yellow Pages link listing. What they'll do is they'll type out, bobsumbrellas.com rather than https://www.bobsumbrellas.com.au. You do that, and then Google goes directly to the website, and that is a clean backlink. And those are the best. If you forget to do HTTPS or you do www by mistake, Google has to redirect customers to get back to your website. So it's important to just copy paste, have it exactly as it is, and then that gives you as much SEO benefit and credence as possible.
So would Google, when you add your Google reviews, is that considered a backlink? And your Instagram feed, do they work in that same way?
Within your Instagram feed, I always encourage customers to include the URL there. So if you do a post, at the end of it, say, for more information, check out our website or if it's about a particular web page within the website, a smaller page within it, definitely include a copy-pasted backlink to that. In terms of Google reviews, Google Business is the platform that shows up on map listings, and if somebody types in the name of your business exactly, then you'll pop up there. And if it's done well, then you can show it for other searches as well. They are the Google Business links backlinks are a single backlink from the Google Business page, but the reviews themselves are not backlinks. However, the more reviews you have, the better, because you can use programs like Yotpo or Trustpilot to basically get as many reviews as possible, and you can display those 5-star reviews in Google searches. So if you're searching online, you probably would have noticed that there are some listings that don't have any stars on them and others that do. And I know my wife says that even if a website ranks at the top of her search, if she sees one that's 2 or 3 places below and it shows 5 stars and it's got 100 5-star reviews, she just skips down to the one with the star reviews. It's very powerful, and clicks on that. On that point, though, another thing that I see customers do a lot of is they use reviews platforms to get as many reviews as possible, but Google only allows certain reviews platforms to show stars on Google. So if you've gone and got 1,000 reviews using a platform that isn't I think Google terms it like a trusted provider, then it doesn't matter how many reviews you've got. Google won't let you show those reviews in its listings. It's very, very important that you find a provider or a review fetching mechanism that is trusted by Google and is on its list. I believe there's about 30 or 40 different options. The one that we often use is Yotpo. Another one is Stamped, and I think Trustpilot is the third one that's still considered a trusted review provider. So if you're going to start getting reviews, make sure you use one of those, because if you don't, it's going to be for nothing.
And reviews are pretty important.
They are, yeah. Google's the algorithms it becomes more complex year on year, but reviews and star reviews and reviews on your website, reviews on Facebook, it all adds to your authority, the authority of your website. Obviously, there's the right way and the wrong way of getting reviews. You can, of course, pay a Russian review farm to go and get reviews for you. And you used to be able to pay like $500 for 500 reviews. Google squashed that probably 5 years ago, and they actually blacklisted websites that were doing those sort of black hat ways of getting reviews. So it's a good thing if you just do it the right way. You get the right reviews platform and you request reviews from legitimate customers. It takes a bit longer, but it pays dividends in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll share all your details in the show notes as well. Thank you so much, James, for joining me.
Not a problem at all. Thank you very much, Carly. I'm glad we got around to it.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow, or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.